Dan,
Hi.
what's your opinion on being sick?
On being sick? Being sick sucks.
I didn't prime him for that one. I'm enjoying a nice lozenge
Okay.
because I have been sick the last couple of days and I am over it now. Except talking all day
The
today.
lingering garbage in your throat.
Yeah, it's been causing me to have scratchy throat. So,
Well, I was able to come up with a reasonable opinion on such a controversial topic
very controversial.
pretty quickly.
Do you have a least favorite type of being sick?
Least favorite type of being sick?
Yep.
Ooh. I mean, norovirus was
Yeah.
pretty friggin' terrible. That was awful.
I haven't had that.
It's no fun for anyone. Probably the worst I have ever felt in my life. So
that's your least favorite.
yeah.
They all kind of stink.
The other bad one was the second time I had COVID and had just a horrific fever for a few days. And that's no fun either.
COVID has never hit me too hard. It's never the first time I don't even know if I had it, right? It was
that's kind of how the first time is for a lot of people.
The second time it was COVID. Okay, I have COVID. But it was a worse cold, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this one that I've had, like I started to feel it on Saturday. On Sunday, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sick. Monday, I basically, stayed in bed. Tuesday, I'm like, oh, feeling better. Today is like barely can tell I had a cold, right? So 4 days and it's done. So that's
good.
the best kind of being
kind
sick.
That comes and goes quickly.
Comes and goes quickly, and the symptoms are easily cover-upable.
Yeah.
With like I had Scar go get me the real Sudafed. Do you know about this?
Wait, there's real Sudafed?
Yeah.
What? No.
So, all right. You can fact check me on this.
Okay.
Internet. A while ago, they realized you could use Sudafed to make meth.
Yeah.
Right? And so the government's like, all right, we can't be selling. People are going and buying all the Sudafed out and going and making meth. So you got to move Sudafed behind the counter. You don't have to have a prescription. When I say Sudafed, whatever that drug is.
Pseudoephedrine.
You got to go ask them, and you can have a certain amount you can get. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of the people who make the drugs are like, well, crap. People won't reach down to the bottom shelf to pick up something. You think they'll go to the counter and ask for it? We're not going to be able to sell anything. And so they went and they looked like, what other decongestants we have? And they're like, oh, there's this other thing that's approved for being a decongestant. And as I remember, when I looked into this, I didn't even know about it till Scar brought it up again. Scar watches these things. And I fact check him. It's true. As I recall, there's a drug from decades ago that was originally listed as being a decongestant. It was approved by the FDA, meaning it's not harmful to you.
Mm-hmm.
And they listed this is can be sold as a decongestant. Well, then the peer-reviewed science came in and said, this doesn't do anything. It has no effect on people's congestion. And the FDA never reclassified it because there were better drugs and everyone was using those. Well, suddenly the better drugs that everyone was using no longer can be sold just at the supermarket where they want to sell their drugs. So they all move back to the old one, which does nothing, right? Has indiscernible from a placebo. And for the last 15 years,
that's all we've had.
Whatever it was, maybe not 15, maybe 10 years. All we've had is the stuff doesn't work. And this sounds like crazy conspiracy theory, right?
Sounds very plausible to me.
I'm getting fact checked right now, and Little Donald is saying, yes, the sources are all in. The stuff they've been selling us as a decongestant for 10 years doesn't work, and they knew it.
No, having worked with pharmaceuticals before, I believe that 100%.
Yeah. There's straight up an FDA briefing that is like, to an advisory committee, that the new data appearing compelling for phenylphalerin, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, that results in no meaningful systematic exposure or evidence of efficiency.
Yep. And so they haven't reclassified it. So the drug companies are like, well, it says on here we can sell it as a decongestant, so we will. And so all your Dayquil is,
It's just that stuff.
It's all that stuff.
Well, that explains a lot.
Your Dayquil is acetaminophen, which is effective.
Mm-hmm.
This stuff, which doesn't do anything, and cough suppressants, which also haven't been clinically proven to have any effect over suppressing a cough. So your Dayquil is expensive acetaminophen. Yeah. So, and that's why colds have been awful for a decade.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had Scar go get me the actual Sudafed, and it's amazing. It actually works. Like, cleared up my congestion in just like a few minutes. And
well, now I want to get a cold so I can try this out.
Yeah.
Come on over here.
It made me laugh. I'll cough. Oh man. For those not benefiting from the video feed on YouTube, you should go look up that clip because he sold it. So yeah.
Pulled out the eyes.
So is this the food heist that I saw on Reddit?
Possibly. Because this is actually a food heist that we covered back when it happened. But then there's been 2 new developments. One of them is very normal, and one of them is insane.
Let me first decide and tell you.
Okay.
Do an aside and say, do you see what you've done to me? I am doom scrolling Reddit and I see food getting stolen. I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
It is interesting.
No, it's not.
It is inherently interesting.
I went and read the article. I can't even remember what was it, but I'm like, oh, this food heist. Huh? I should read about what have you done to me?
I've opened your eyes. I have shown you the world.
Is there a food heist subreddit?
I don't know.
I'll give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
I don't know.
If there's not a subreddit called Food Heists or Food Heist.
Subreddits are not famous for checking with academically approved experts like myself when they name themselves.
You need to make r/Food Heist.
I need to make r/Food Heist?
Before this goes live, you need to make it.
I'm going to add it to my list. We will get that up and running.
Before this is live, there will be r/Food Heist.
Okay.
Nice.
And you're going to have to make Dan and me moderators.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh, then I'll have to work.
No, you don't have to. They made me a moderator on the Mistborn one. I never do anything. So.
Now, there is r/intentionally blank.
Yes.
Oh, that's fun.
Yep. Well, we need to own Food Heist.
We'll get Food
and
Heist.
Then people can post Food Heist there.
I know.
And have lovely conversations about them.
Okay. I like this plan. I'm excited for people to do it.
All right. You said there is a
previous food heist has returned to the news.
Well, wait a minute. I just realized something.
Okay.
My son is supposed to be here changing the papers.
Oh, okay. I thought he had stolen some food or something, and you were about to brag about him. And then it was going to turn out to be the same food heist.
Yeah. I'm going to text my wife and say, Oliver needs to come to work. My son needs to learn to do his job.
He needs to get on top of this stuff.
All right. Son has been texted. This is the great entertainment that we bring to people watching our podcast is they get to watch us text.
They get to watch us pause for a minute and text people.
And text my son to come do his job.
Yeah. All right, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
So do you remember, we talked about this last year, or maybe even the year before. I don't know how long this took to wind its way through the court. But there was a woman near Chicago who stole $1.5 million worth of chicken wings.
Right.
You remember that?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Okay. What she was doing was basically defrauding the school district during COVID when they were providing meals for kids that their only good meal access was at school.
Yeah.
She would order chicken wings.
Mm-hmm.
And she was eventually caught because she was ordering bone-in chicken wings, which traditionally are not the kind you put in elementary schools.
Right. she was not robbing the kids, right?
No.
She was robbing the company.
She was robbing, she was robbing the district because she was saying, hey, we need a bunch more chicken wings for all these lunches we're making.
Okay.
And then instead of putting the chicken wings in the lunches, she
is kind of robbing the kids then.
Elsewhere.
I don't know if I can give her a cool nickname.
Well, that's the problem.
Right.
I don't know what she was using them for.
Yeah.
Like, was she selling them secondhand to shady chicken wing restaurants? Was she providing them to homeless people? Like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
The article does not say.
Okay.
But I assume it was nefarious when you defraud a school district out of $1.5 million. So anyway, the reason this is back in the news is because it has, the case is closed and she was sentenced to 9 years in prison.
Okay.
And approximately 4,000 people sent me links to various articles about it when that happened.
Great.
But then, like, the next day or 2 days later, this is the insane part of the news. Chris Jones, who is the defensive tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs, said on Twitter, hey, if I pay $1.5 million to cover what she stole, does she not have to go to prison? So, yeah, like an NFL football player decided to try to cover this woman's debt, crime.
Okay, what's going on here?
I don't know.
There's no more news than that?
There might be. No one sent it to me, and I didn't look it up.
You didn't look it up. You didn't. Dan, you're supposed to pretend to be putting effort into this.
Oh, I put so much effort. I had to spend like so much time looking through my email to find this article when I got into the room today. Yeah, so that's crazy.
Right. There's more to this story, obviously.
And the story's only like a week, maybe 2 weeks old.
Is he a relative?
No.
Donald, can you dig into this? Like, what's his name?
Woman's name is Vera Liddell.
Vera Liddell.
His name is Chris Jones.
Chris Jones. If you Google that, those two, like, there's got to be a why is he doing this?
Here, if you want to text your son while I look this up.
What? Yeah, you text my son. Oh, Emily says he's sick and coughing too much. Okay. All right. I guess he's excused. You're going to have to do his job, Donald.
Yeah. You know, I'm so begrudging.
Your intern is terrible.
You're right. Do I now have an intern technically?
That's Oliver, right? You change the pages? He can be your intern, right?
I will happily accept that.
Oliver's your intern.
You heard it first.
Okay, as I expected,
he's a terrible intern.
All of the articles that are popping up on this are saying, is this even possible for him to pay off this debt? Which is kind of what I expected.
That's a cool one. But the question is why, right? Like, why would he want to do this? Either she's done something cool with them that's drawn his attention, or he has some connection to her. Like, was she provide? She must have been providing those wings.
Chicago defense lawyer Patrick O'Byrne told People magazine that Liddell is a, quote, church-going woman with no previous criminal record who had a gambling problem. The plot thickens.
Oh, dear.
Can you imagine going into a back alley poker game
with chicken wings,
and then this 68-year-old lunch lady plops down like a bucket of frozen chicken wings on the table and says, I'm all in.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
Okay, that does add, like, I guess she's betting with chicken wings. To fuel her gambling addiction. That does add.
That's amazing.
That adds to a story right there. That's straight out of like some bad cartoon, right? Where there's an orphanage and the person in charge of the orphanage is like gambling away all their money, like, right?
Yeah.
We take the kids' money. What do we do with it? We gamble it, right? Like, that's straight up villain activity. That's how you make a Disney villain even worse.
It's going to be like the third Rescuers movie.
Yeah, right.
Is that gambling chicken wing movie.
Gambling chicken wing. I keep coming up with pseudo cool names for her, and I'm just not sure I want to give them to her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Poultry Plotter. Yeah,
the Poultry Plotter.
Yeah. But now that we know that there's gambling involved, right?
We could call it Kentucky Fried Fraud. Oh, that's pretty good.
That one's good, Dan.
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Kentucky Fraudster. Kentucky Fried Chicken. Dan.
Except it's in Illinois.
Yeah, but Kentucky Fried Chicken started in Utah, so it doesn't really matter.
So we can have Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah, there's absolutely precedent for the fact that Kentucky Fried Chicken has very little to do with Kentucky.
Yeah.
In fact, I bet if you go to Kentucky and you say, "Do you mind?" They'd be like, "No. The more people that know that this isn't our chicken, the better." Right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a fun detail. One of Liddell's lawyers told reporters that because the sentence has already come down and she's already in place, she's already a convicted felon.
Yeah.
It is unlikely that this will happen. But her other lawyer said the clock is ticking and Chris Jones has to be there with the checkbook. So all is a bit chaotic in the Vera Liddell chicken wing camp.
Okay. Well, internet, keep us up to date because goodness knows we won't do any work apparently.
Whew. Just so that you know, $1.5 million worth of chicken wings is 11,000 cases.
Man, that is a big gambling problem, right? If you lose 11,000 cases of frozen chicken wings, number one, those are some very understanding gambling partners. Because of course she didn't go sell the chicken wings and then gamble them.
No, I mean that's a novice might think that, but that's not how these things work.
No, this is not how this goes. No. So
yeah.
So what have you been up to lately?
Well, I have been traveling.
Yeah, you've been all over the place.
I've been everywhere. In fact, one of the places I went, I got you a present.
Oh,
you want a present?
I didn't know this was a present for me.
This is a present for you.
Okay.
This is from Napoli. Famous for pizza and for...
I think this is going to be salt.
Lemons.
I think I'm going to be happy about this. Look at this. Natural lemon salt, huh?
Yeah, lemon-infused salt crystals.
This
and
is
a bunch
awesome.
of other detritus.
Very thoughtful of you, Dan.
Thank you.
The thing about this is it's so pretty. I don't want to eat it. I want to go put it on my salt
shelf. I know, it
shelf.
looks really fancy, huh?
I actually have a salt shelf of all the fancy salts that people give me.
Okay. I've seen the salt cupboard. Is the salt shelf in the cupboard? Or is
down in the lair. We're starting moving it, a whole shelf of all the cool salts.
Oh, see, but I bet this tastes delicious.
A lemon salt is one of my favorites. You can put it on so many things. Lemon salt is really good on a lot of vegetables. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe we'll have to expertly open it and get some out, and then
get one of these Food Heist experts.
I don't know why I'm always
exfiltrate some salt.
I don't know why I'm always so scared when you give me something.
Well, it's because usually it gets filtered through other people who have added like diapers to the box or something.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't want to eat an entire one of these because it fills my mouth too much. I'm trying to talk.
Yeah.
So I have to snap them or I have to bite them in half, which is,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to do that on. No, I'll do it on stream.
Yeah,
Here you go. Here you go.
Here we go. Now somebody gets a minty fresh copy of Mistborn.
That's right. I should mention I finished the Oathbringers. Oathbringers.
Wind and Truth. They were Wind and Truth.
The Wind and Truth. All done. 10,000 of those. And so now I can get Mistborn Leatherbounds signed edition back in stock for those who've been waiting. So
awesome. By the way, do you know how hard it is to buy presents for you?
Yeah.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry. Because
hey, I got the present you gave me. It's like right over there.
That is true.
Yeah. There's literally a present from you on my shelf, and it was a very thoughtful one.
Which one is it?
It's Elden Ring waifu.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Good old.
Well,
I guess Elden Ring has
delightful.
multiple waifus, doesn't it?
Yeah, but Ronnie is like.
Is she the most? You can actually marry Ronnie in Elden Ring.
Oh.
Yes.
I did not know this.
Literally waifu.
Okay.
You can, now, granted, I don't know how that works because she's like a soul trapped in a doll's body that then leaves the doll's body to travel into the eternities. But you get to go with her.
Okay. Well, that's cute.
You put a ring on her finger. That's
you
all that
literally
matters.
put a ring on her finger, and she says, "Oh, I guess you're going to be my lord." Great, off we go into the cosmos to fight Cthulhu.
Yeah,
You know, that's the same way I proposed to my wife.
Oh yeah, how did the Cthulhu fighting go?
It went okay. I mean, he's still around.
Yeah,
he's public domain now, so he's everywhere. That was the best thing he's ever done for his career.
That's what I've been doing, is playing Elden Ring, because I got sick, and it happened to coincide with me doing my last stream where I was going to be blind. And so I said to people, all right, in future streams, I'm not going to be blind.
So wait, how were you blind?
Blind in that blind playthrough, meaning I hadn't done, everything I was seeing was new.
Okay.
Right. They got to see.
Were you literally playing with a blindfold on?
No,
I would watch that.
I don't think there's any games I could do that for. People can do all kinds of games that way, but I can't. But that means I can play the Elden Ring DLC uninhibited. And I don't think that I ever should have said, I'm going to try to do this blind for you guys. But it was a lot of fun to do so. So I got sick, and so I played Elden Ring for 2 days, basically.
Well, that's fun.
And that was a lot of fun.
Is that the main video game that's taken your time post Stormlight 5?
Yes. It's the only video game.
The only one?
Yeah.
Okay.
That I have, because I've still had other things that I'm doing. I started a novella. We'll talk about that in the future episode a little bit.
In the future.
Yeah. But I've been crossing things off my list that I had put off until Stormlight 5 was done.
Yeah.
And slowly knocking them down. But yeah. So one problem is that I found that the DLC was being too easy. And so I took one of my other characters and I brought him to the DLC, and I took all of his equipment and I threw it away. So he has nothing.
What?
And I took all of his, I respec'd him and put all of his points into Arcane, 99, and everything else was at level 10. And then I had no weapon, and so I had to try to find a weapon without anything. And that was a lot of fun. It was like I have to scrounge for resources again. It's like starting Elden Ring over again, because I always play as the wretch or whatever. And I eventually found, I let myself keep my Flask of Wondrous Physic and, things like that.
Yeah.
There's one that blows you up. You can drink this potion and you explode. I don't know why it's in the game. Do you have any idea why it's in the game?
Because theoretically, if the boss dies faster than you still consider the win.
Okay.
So you can make explosive madness builds, I think.
Okay, that you blow. So you can blow yourself up, and it doesn't quite kill you. And I realized that I could drink this and run next to an enemy and blow them up and survive. And I did that until one dropped a weapon. And then I was armed. And
that's why it's in the game.
Yes. And then I could start killing them, but I didn't have any upgrade stones. So I had to find guys that drop upgrade stones. And so then I had to go do that so I could upgrade. And I beat the first boss last night. So my character is kind of pseudo level 30 at this point, because it's 30 points above the 99 points in Arcane.
Right.
But it's not quite, because you do get some resistances from those other ones. So anyway.
So I don't know how the game works. With 99 points in Arcane, do you have a bunch of spells that you use?
No, Arcane makes you find weapon.
Just
it
raises your magic find percentage.
You're finding items. And it like makes certain weapons scale.
Yes.
Right? Does it do anything else?
Basically, it's the luck stat.
Yeah, it's the luck stat. So it's like the most useless stat in Elden Ring. It's why I stuck it in there, because then I'm like, well, this won't give me too much of a gameplay advantage.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't want to like take my rune level 1 character and do that. So I'm like, this is kind of like starting over, and I'm going to level this character up, obviously. So it is in New Game Plus too, which has made it a little bit harder.
Okay.
Because it was my original character. So, but anyway, that's been fun. I kind of get to be a scrappy underdog again instead of the overpowered end game build that I had.
Yeah, I don't care about difficulty in games, but recently, while bored and depressed, I was like, well, nothing else sounds fun. I'm going to try Diablo 4 again. Because I stopped playing that because it was so boring. And I had to crank the difficulty way up before it was interesting enough to play again.
I've heard that about those games. I really like Diablo 2. I've never tried 3 or 4.
Diablo 2 was fantastic. I actually really liked 3.
Mm-hmm.
The itemization has gotten worse and worse over time.
Yeah, that's what
2
put me
was
off
the
of
high
3.
point.
2 was before they could make any money off of itemizing, and so they just let you have fun as the game was supposed to be, and get your loot and build characters around it. I always played hardcore, which is when you die, you're dead. It adds that level of tension to me, so I never got a max level character. Closest I got was like the 70s or 80s, and then back then I think the max was 99 or something like that. But, but yeah,
those were the days.
So anywhere else you traveled?
So we did 1 week in Mediterranean cruise.
Okay.
Which was mostly Italy.
Was this writing excuses?
No.
Okay.
This was anniversary trip with my wife.
Okay,
it was
I've never
our
done one of
25th
those.
Anniversary.
Not that I've never had a 25th anniversary. I've never done a cruise around the Mediterranean.
Yeah. It was fun, but the thing is that I expect a cruise to be relaxing, but the Mediterranean is so packed full of historical importance that there were no sea days. It was just every day was a shore day, and it was run to see all of Rome in one day. Like it was ludicrously ridiculous.
That does sound a little miserable.
Yeah. So we were supposed to go to Marseille, and then like at 11:30 the night before, the captain got on the PA and he said, "Hey, sorry, Marseille their port is on strike, so we can't dock, and so we're just gonna have a sea day." And it was so nice. Like, I'm sure Marseille is wonderful and that I missed out, but at the same time, it was great to just not have to go anywhere. But yeah, so that's that. After the week of the cruise, we went back to Stuttgart where we used to live.
Okay.
Because Dawn had never been back. And as of this August 1st, we've been back for 10 years. That was the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
It does not seem like 10 years.
No, it doesn't.
Man. Okay.
But it was fun. We got to go back to Germany, see all the people, and go to all the places that we used to go. Dawn started crying when we got to the grocery store where she used to shop all the time, because that's how she is.
That does sound like Dawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, I was here all the time. Look, I used to buy these things.
I didn't go anywhere since we last spoke. I mean, I did the Hawaii trip, but I think we talked about that. So
yeah,
I've been enjoying my Elden Ringing, and everyone taking, now that Stormlight 5 is done, there's a lot of things that I need to get to, and people are very eager for me to get to them, shall we say.
Well, it's nice that you finished Wind and Truth first.
Yes.
Instead of taking constant detours into other things and making us wait longer. So, good for you.
Well, thank you very much.
Hey, no problem.
Did you see any movies lately? Do we need to talk about?
Who?
Did you see
Inside
Out 2?
I have not seen that.
Okay.
I did watch The Fall Guy, though.
Oh, man, I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen that? I loved it.
I've heard that it's great.
Yeah.
It's so weird to see these great movies coming out that probably would have done well pre-COVID that now don't. It's also interesting to watch this summer to see 2 giant blockbusters break out again. One, a family-friendly movie, and one, an R-rated kind of older audiences. So it was Barbie and Oppenheimer, but it's Inside Out 2 and Wolverine, Deadpool.
Yeah.
This year, and it's like collectively everyone decides, you know what? We're going to decide on these 2 movies.
These are the 2 movies.
Here's the 2 movies.
The
one
2 types
families,
of people.
Yeah, one
people
that you don't
who want
take your
swearing
kids to.
and people who don't.
Yeah, and that's. Am I just kind of making that up? It feels like we've had that again.
No, those are the 2 big 2, because Inside Out 2 broke like all of Disney's animated feature stuff, and then Deadpool 2 is being heralded as the hopeful return of good MCU movies.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and it is the highest grossing R-rated comedy of all time.
Right. Well, and Inside Out 2 is the
highest animated
grossing
film. Animated film.
Yeah. And I think this is more than Inside Out 2 being good. I just watched it. It's a great film.
Okay.
Right.
I will watch it.
But I think it's more than that. I think it is families are just like, we're tired. We just are going to pick one and we're going to go to that one this summer. And this is the one that rose above. I think Rise of Gru did just fine too. Or not Rise of Gru, Minions 4.
Despicable, yeah.
Despicable Me.
But it's like
17.
And they're just kind of like fewer things and more people are going to them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting.
It is interesting.
Shift in audience dynamics.
And I wonder how much of that is streaming is so easy.
Yeah.
Because that's for me. I haven't gone to a theater since D&D, and that's because we wanted to talk about it while it was still fresh, which of course we always do because we're on top of things.
Cutting edge.
Yeah.
Cutting edge.
But yeah.
I went to something in the theater. What did I go into the theater?
Oh, no, we did Mission Impossible together.
Mission Impossible.
That was post D&D.
Yes, and that was a year ago.
Was that a year ago?
Yes, that was last summer, last July.
Yeah, that's the last time I was in a theater.
I think that's the last time I was in a theater also.
That was not the anointed movie that year, so it lost a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Well, and that was just last year, Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
And this year was Deadpool and Inside Out.
Yeah. What's next year?
We'll find out.
What's the big
Place our bets? This reminds me of the Hogwarts thing. There was a tweet somebody said about Hogwarts, which was, of course, there are 4 kinds of students: good, evil, smart, and miscellaneous. And so now we're doing the same thing with movies. There's the sweary movies and the non-sweary movies.
And miscellaneous.
Yeah, and miscellaneous other stuff. You should watch Fall Guy. It was good.
I will watch Fall Guy.
If we're taking bets, I think it's probably going to be Paddington and Peru.
Do you think Paddington and Peru? Because those 2 previous films are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They are fantastic films. But I feel like is the same director coming back? I feel like they're not.
I am pretty sure it's him.
Were they big money makers?
But that's the other thing. I don't think either of them were big blockbusters.
Yeah. They were fantastic movies.
Yes.
I love them.
Absolutely.
But I don't remember them making a ton of money.
I mean, their budget was $40 million, and their box office was about $227. So
right, but that's not...
It's not billions.
Number 3 is not going to go to $1 billion. No, it's probably not, but who knows, right?
Probably not. It's going to be whatever...
it's probably going to be Joker, thinking about it.
You think it's going to be Joker? That's going to be the R-rated one? It's going to go...
But Gangbusters? Probably. With how much Joker got hyped up.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's a good...
I can see Gladiator. That going big.
Oh, then... Gladiator 2 is next summer.
Gladiator 2 is also there.
Oh, that's stiff competition there.
Which one?
What?
I don't know. I'm excited to find out.
Ridley Scott can be very... When Ridley Scott hits, Scott really hits.
Yeah.
Right? We watched The Martian with my kids recently, and man... just knocked that one out of the park. I mean, it was a layup, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you just make that book and do some minimal adaptation, but you did have to make some clever decisions on how to adapt that.
Some big cuts.
And they did, and it's a home run. I guess it's a layup and a home run. I'm mixing my metaphors. But anyway, he did it, and it's great. So,
well, and then some Disney thing is probably going to be the kid movie next year, right?
Mufasa or something like that.
I don't even know what's coming out. It won't be Snow White. I can tell you that right now.
Let's wait and see it be Snow White, and then we'll both have to eat our words.
Yeah. Okay. Well, fine then.
How's that, Ben?